All right, let us begin with the invocation. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishna Mande Jagatgurum Krishna Mande Jagatgurum Hari Om. Yes, can anyone recollect? Hari Om ji. Can anyone recollect what is it? Yes, Deepali ji.
Hello.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Yes, please. Yes, Deepali ji.
Yesterday, Lord Krishna starts with the second meditation technique with,
Okay, ji.
with 4 steps. First, pure and clean place. Second, proper seat. Third, stable and erect position where head, neck and spine in the straight line. And the
Ji.
fourth one is concentrating on the tip of the nose.
Okay.
And for that, we have to go step by step, gradually inwarding. And in the higher consciousness, we have to free from the thoughts to get the
Okay.
supreme bliss. And for
Ji.
getting this supreme bliss, or no news is bad news, or stable mind condition, Lord Krishna gave one example of a lamp in the windless place.
Yes. Yes.
And lastly, for this, we have to very much practice and full efforts for that, regulating our thoughts, mind, emotions, and controlling our eating, sleeping habits, wandering here and there, and our work. We have to regulate and balance, make balance.
So, yes, Deepali ji. Thank you very much. That was so perfectly explained what we saw so far. Anybody would like to add something to what Deepali ji has shared? Please feel free to unmute. Yes, Badrinath ji. Yes.
Lord Krishna says that once anybody reaches that supreme state of consciousness, all sorrows begin to
Disappear.
vanish and
Yes, sir.
disappear. And he further says that this path is not for those who indulge in sleeping and eating. And
Okay.
when this soul gets awakened, all reaches the higher consciousness, then sleep, awakening, and food are all regulated.
Yuktahara viharasya. Absolutely. Yes, ji. Okay. And that's a very interesting shloka where Krishna is saying one side we have to balance. I'll just mute you. Yeah. Hari Om. Yes. So one side you have to balance our ahar, our vihar, all the our sleeping, our actions, everything. And also not rigidly renounce all the urges. Mean don't get carried away. Slowly transcend all of your urges. That is what Krishna talked about. So he said, first, try to reach that state. And when that state is reached, there is a quietude. Why should one do a sadhana? It is simple. It is said, Samadhi Bhavanartha. If you ask a Kriya Yogi, why do you do that? Samadhi Bhavanartha, Klesha, Karnarthascha. To reduce the difficulty to go into a state of quietude. Or in simpler words, in layman terms, why should sadhana be done? To remove the suffering aspect of our life. All of us are going to experience pain sometime or the other. This is a perfectly natural and common and universal human phenomenon. We cannot ever say that I have never experienced pain or I had never experienced pain. Something will happen. Maybe I might personally not feel pain. Somebody else very close to me is feeling pain, means that will come to us only, isn't it? If my sister is not happy or is unwell, what will happen to me? Can I say I am very happy? No, naturally, I'm connected with so many things. So that way, our world, we are very much connected with so many things across the world. Someone is unwell, someone is unhappy, something bad happens to somebody else. It immediately affects us. Well, at least yoga sadhana, the reason why we should do that is to remove the suffering. That is why sadhana is required, to remove the suffering aspect of our life. Krishna is saying this is the aim, this is the need for yoga, and we should be courageous on this path. It's sometimes it is very difficult. It is very difficult sometimes to actually experience all these moments because our emotions complicate, magnify, they increase all of it. But with sadhana, with dhyana, now we learn two techniques of meditation. Practical example. Important decisions, if you want to take, at least take that time, go into meditation, become quiet, and then take your important decision rather than taking a decision in a flurry of emotions. Best example I can think of is how I got benefited by this dhyana. A friend disappointed me, a very old close friend disappointed me, and for me it was like a stab in the back. But first thing I had to do was become calm. Otherwise, what is going to happen? And what could I do ultimately? After I became calm, I realized, what can I do? It is what there's nothing can be changed. That person has chosen that particular direction. That person has walked on that different path. I cannot walk on somebody else's path or make someone else walk on a different path. What we have to do is we have to come to terms. That's what Krishna is talking about. And when you go into meditation, you will have thoughts. You will have thoughts. Krishna says control. Thoughts will take you left, right, all directions, but you don't get carried away by your thoughts. Don't relate to your thoughts. Don't attach to your thoughts. Best example, it is, I think, Socrates had given a test. There was one very illustrious student who had come to him. He said, I want to become your student. I have come from far. Make me your student. I will learn and grow under your direction. Socrates said, no, I will not take just like that. I will give you a test. If you pass it, then I will accept you. He said, what is the test? The test was, don't think about tomatoes, he said, and go. He sent him away. Now this fellow, what a weird test this is. That was the first experience. And then as he kept walking, why did he say not to think of tomatoes? Or was there a separate inner meaning behind this? Or does tomato have a esoteric significance? Is it symbolism? All these questions, that poor student was just having thoughts all the time. And then finally he realized, I am doing exactly what I am not supposed to. He himself very honestly went and told the next day, I have failed. Then that was when he thought that this is where you have to understand your thoughts are not to take you away. So Krishna says here in dhyana, step by step, gradually turn inwards. It will not happen just in a jiffy. It may take some time, but when it does, you will experience what is the ananda. Krishna says, this is what one must do and establish the consciousness. I told the example of a cowherd. What does he do? He has a stick in his hand. He can't hit all the cattle with his stick. He does not hit them also. But he establishes the authority with the stick. He says, if when he sees the cattle are going out of his reach, he brings them back. Just like that, your thoughts also, do not let them travel, but if they travel also, bring them back again. Rein in your consciousness. Explain, like, yes, I am in control of my thoughts. How many of us would like to be in control of our thoughts? Yes. I think I would definitely like to be. Everyone, isn't it? It is so bad when our thoughts are not in control. It feels like we are a puppet. Somebody is having a remote control and we are just, working according to these situations. So for controlling our thoughts, dhyana is the one of the most important and basic things Krishna is saying. And I think very nicely Dipalji gave the example of how Krishna said a yogi's mind, it is like a lamp in a windless place. If you have a butter lamp in the house, you light a lamp every day. That time, just try observing the lamp. That is also a form of meditation. Swami Vivekananda tells, look at the lamp only, see the flame as it goes. It is always moving upwards. That is like human aspiration, our aspiration to grow, our aspiration to evolve. That is very beautifully personified in that lamp. But when there is a wind, what happens? Then it flickers. So like that, our Anta Jyoti also should be peaceful, should be calm. We should be that way, is what Krishna says. And Krishna goes on. We'll go to the 27th shloka now, because I think yesterday we completed the 26th shloka. Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukham uttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahma bhuta makalmasham. A pure quietude devoid of any strong emotion, He is the gain of the seeker of the divine union. Means there is something beyond emotions also. A Shanti is there. That Shanti is called Ananda. Ananda is something which is beyond happiness also. In the Rig Veda, Ananda is described like an elixir. It is like a soma which we must taste. It is always accompanied by a trinity. This is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Truth, consciousness, and bliss. A trinity is always there. All three. When you are in the consciousness of truth, only then can you experience the complete bliss. That is why we can see, I think, a lot of saints, many of them, if you see the saintly figures, you always see them with a smile. They are in that state. It's a very beautiful. I think, can anybody think of anyone or you have seen in life or you have a photo of or someone who's always in that quietude, which we can say maybe that person is in Ananda? Anybody? If you can, names of someone. Okay, Anuradha ji has written Sai Baba. Yes, there is this nice smiling photo. Deepali ji, yes, please.
Sant Tukaram.
Tukaram Maharaj. Okay, yes. Anandachi Dohi, Ananda Taranga. He was in that bliss of Ananda. Yes. Badinaran ji wants to say something.
I have attended Swami Chinmayananda and Swami Purnananda. They also were
They were
always
also always smiling. Yes, yes. So this Ananda is a very beautiful companion of a yogi. And Ananda is a permanent companion of that yogi wherever that person goes. That is a lakshana of a yogi also is that person has Ananda. Those around that person also experience that aura of Ananda. They experience that happiness wherever. It is sometimes so contagious. And I think that is something which should be viral, isn't it? Enough of all these, what we can say, adenoviruses and different viruses which are going viral. Why not we spread that Ananda around us? We become beacons of Ananda. Everybody will have a very good time in our company as well. Let us continue. Krishna says, a pure quietude devoid of any strong emotion is the gain of the seeker of the divine union. Attains he a gnosis of the Brahma, the supreme realization, experiencing the infinite bliss of the soul's emancipation. It is the growth of consciousness. It is a consciousness. It's like a child has suddenly grown into an adult. I think in a heart, child should always remain, yes, but there is a joy in growing also, isn't it? The growth means keep the innocence in your heart, but the maturity that comes from it's like a blossoming of a flower. A small bud becomes a flower. That is a growth, which is again a manifestation of beauty. Like that, that is what is happening inside of that seeker. And he's getting that high realization. That is what we can say, giving him only bliss. Krishna goes on, and these are all things that have to be tested. It is so difficult. It's like I got Ananda. Here, take. I cannot give that. You have to take on your own. It's like if I say I have got Ananda, it's like I'm teasing you by eating a beautiful mango in the summer season. Can I show you a mango and I eat that mango? Say Alfonso, or we have here different varieties. Just eating it is of no use, isn't it? For everybody else. You will have to taste it. You will have to experience, and that can come only when you raise your consciousness. Tukaram had also, since today's example, Dipaliji said, "Khadilyasa godi, dekhilyasa nahi." The experience of taste that comes, that experience that comes from tasting cannot be just spoken or shown. Something like that, that yogi is also tasting. That is why some of these yogis called up that only as the supreme consciousness. Sri Aurobindo in his Sri Aurobindo Upanishad, last line, he says, Anandam hi pravakshami bhagavata adishtaha tamasam apavritya anandasya putraha prakashastu. He says, spread that light, O children of Ananda. You are children of Ananda is what his final statement is in that text. And throw away all this darkness of ignorance. Become the beacons of Ananda and spirit around. Well, for that, we'll have to taste it. Then only we can understand. इसे जाको लागी वो जाने दूजा क्या जाने. Who has tasted, he will know. Somebody else will not. Krishna goes on. Yujjanevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena Brahma sansparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. When he is thus unblemished, passionless and free, constantly in the state of union he can be. He can always be in that state. You can say a high state, which is a natural high state. A lot of people resort to some artificial means, then they give them side effects. They want to prolong it, but it does not come. Then it starts becoming fake and it suddenly starts feeling bad and empty. Basically, everybody is searching for happiness. We do not know it might be inside of us. We are searching in the wrong places. We'll never find it outside. Krishna goes on, when he is thus unblemished, passionless, and free, constantly in a state of union, he can be. Such a yogi is always in a state of the highest joy. As the understanding of the Creator, he can enjoy. Means the yogi has raised consciousness to a point where he's able to understand something which is happening behind the wheel. Normally, what happens? Somebody speaks to us in a particular way, something happens, this person didn't like me or didn't reciprocate my feelings, this person called me a fool, nobody cares for me. All these thoughts come inside of us. These thoughts bring us down completely because we don't see a higher purpose. But now I can say what thoughts I had in my college. Right now I can look back and laugh also. Yesterday I had a good fortune to meet a college friend. We both went on I was on my bike, he was on his. He started talking about how that time the bikes would travel at 150 kilo, 110, 115. That was his highest speed. I said, no, I had touched 100. Now he's married, he's got a wife, he's got a child. And I asked him, what is your high speed now? He said, my bike does not cross 70. I see the face of my child. I have to come back right now home. For me, that is the most important thing. Now, if we just look at it, that time there was a different source of something we use happiness, something else. But there is one thing which is higher. For that, we have to understand. And that can come only when you are stable on the inside. Otherwise, you will not. And many times when you are in the loop of things move us around, you don't understand the higher principles at play. You only feel and react to the situations. Later on in the Gita, Krishna talks about understanding there are forces at play. Some are constructive, some are destructive. When you can watch the game of forces, then you can become the player instead of being played around like a ping pong ball. In life, we have to raise our consciousness. Otherwise, our life's remote is going to be elsewhere, not in our hand. Yogi is able to understand, so he's understanding, yes, this is happening. Sometimes people get even hints of what is about to happen also. How is that possible? First, calmness on the inside, then only receptivity is possible. Krishna goes on. Sarva bhutastham atmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. Such a man who has attained the union, universal, acquires he a perspective equal and global. For he sees the self in all and all in the self, and he discriminates not others from himself. Look at this. First, Krishna talked about objects, isn't it? Clay, gold, and stone, that person is able to look at with samatha or oneness. Then, beyond objects, also, the person is able to see with oneness even the friend as well as the foe. The person who is trying to create a problem or discord also, the person is understanding, yes, this person is doing this. Or even the callous ones who are indifferent, or the ones who are very close and yet very far away, meaning somebody is not reciprocating. You want somebody to, it's like somebody likes one person so much and that person doesn't reciprocate. It is the most troublesome, painful feeling, isn't it? But that only sometimes breaks a person completely. Person decides this is the end of my life. I don't need a career. Look at this, what has happened. And in those emotions, the person drowns. But Krishna says, no, go into that state of balance. Let all objects also, people also, look at them with the same, what we can say, unbiased manner. Just because a friend has said something, you cannot allow that friend to go on the wrong path just because of your bias. Same way, unknowingly, your enemy might teach you something which you don't, he will not consciously teach you, but you can learn from the enemy as well. Only when you don't have the hatred. Otherwise, the hatred will blind you only. So that, and now Krishna is saying, this yogi is using the same scale for himself as well. Means many times we don't want somebody else to make mistake. But when we make mistake, we say it's all right. I have made a mistake. It's okay. I give excuse myself. No, the yogi gives the strongest scale. Maybe the more scrutiny is on the self than anywhere else. The yogi. That is why we have Kabir saying, "Bura jo dekhan main chala, bura na milya koi, jo dil khoja apna mujhsa bura na koi." What was Kabir such a bad man, or was he like that? No, he was a realized saint. But he said, I went searching for faults everywhere else. I found none. When I turned inside, then I found that the worst person was inside of me. Meaning, subtly he was able to see all the flaws on the inside. Many times there is ahankar inside, and we don't want to see that. We try to avoid it very conveniently. But the problem is, nature makes it manifest. Once I didn't know I had, of course, not once I didn't know ahankar keeps coming. I have to keep removing it. But there was a time where I did not know this ahankar was there. And suddenly, when I came face to face with it, I felt so bad, so hopeless. I wrote a poem after getting disturbed, Monster in the Mirror. Meaning, I just saw that finally this monster I was searching across the world. I did not find, I went across the world and I couldn't find it. Finally, when I came home, opened my door and walked inside a mirror, I found that monster I was searching for. That was the feeling I got. It was the real feeling when I just saw my own shortcomings. So the yogi is able to understand his or her own mistakes and move ahead, not dwelling on the mistake, not troubling himself or herself, but moving ahead. That's what Krishna is saying. He's seeing the divine. Yes, somebody wants to add something or ask something? Yes, sir,
Yes, sir.
Badrinathji. Of
Hello.
course.
I
Yes,
don't
sir.
know how far it's correct, but I heard that लॉर्ड कृष्णा के तरफ सर के पास दुर्योधन बैठे थे और पैर के पास अर्जुन बैठे थे।
जी।
फिर कृष्णा जी ने बोला था कि आप दोनों जाकर इस गांव में ढूंढो कि कितने खराब लोग हैं, कितने अच्छे लोग हैं। दुर्योधन
हाँ,
came with an answer, everybody is bad. I have not found a single good person. Arjuna said, I have found everybody good, nobody to be bad. I think if you are
okay.
good, you see in others. Am I right? Is that okay?
Yes, that is true. That is true. Absolutely. Ji. Hari. So let us continue. So Krishna says such a person gets a union, he gets a perspective which is global. That is why Swami Vivekananda can go to Chicago and speak the way he spoke. How did he, when he has no experience at all, how did he get that confidence? How did he muster that knowledge to speak all of it into such, and everybody hearing this concept of brothers and sisters of America? Everybody had their own, I am this country, I am this religion, I am belonging to this sect, or whatever, this small narrow-mindedness. Suddenly one strong, confident, broad-minded yogi stands and speaks a few words, and there's a big applause across everywhere. Well, that universal perspective, yogi can be put on any corner of the world, and that yogi can actually be in a very good state of consciousness without getting disturbed, because the yogi has got a wide and universal perspective. Humans are humans only, isn't it? Everywhere, any part of the world. Mistakes of human nature will be present everywhere. Maybe it will manifest different, people's behaviors will be different, people's cultures may be different. But Manavi Swabhava, we all have the Indriyas, we all have the Mana, we all have Ahankar also. So everywhere it is the same, and the yogi is able to see that. And so he discriminates not others from himself. He gives the same scale, same unbiased approach for himself and others also. If I don't allow this for others, I should not allow this for me also. The same principle, it should not change depending on means the standard must remain the same. That's what is the yogi's way. He goes on further. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Krishna says, he who everywhere sees only me, and in everyone, me only he can see. To him I can never lost be, and he is never lost to me. This is again Krishna is displaying to Arjuna the divinity inside of him. He is speaking about it, is mentioning. Previously, he also mentioned how much of it Arjuna bought, we don't know. But now Krishna is saying, if you are able to see the divine everywhere, inside all, what is the meaning of namaste? Anybody? When we do namaste, what is the meaning of it actually? Anyone? Could you tell me?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, Badrinathji.
Namaskar.
Yes.
Namaskar means one soul greeting the other.
Okay, Namaha Te Akar, Namaskara. Yes, that I think Anuradha ji has written. I see the divinity in you. Meaning the divinity inside of me is seeing the divinity inside of another person. I'm recognizing you are divine. That is when you are able to see beyond the outer. Well, that is what Krishna is saying. And Krishna is saying, when everywhere you can see Krishna. Now, Sri Aurobindo's experience, if anybody had the chance to Google it online, Alipur jail, or if possible, I think I have a link also and I have a poem about it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. He had got the experience inside of a prison, 6 by 9 feet. Such a brilliant soul, a brilliant Atman was caged inside for a crime he did not commit. And for what? For aspiring for the freedom, and he thought it was a divine purpose of his birth. He dedicated his life for it, and suddenly he got put into jail. Someone who could have been anywhere, but now he is trapped. Normally, anybody would panic, anybody would get frustrated. It was a solitary confinement with the aim to drive people mad only. That was the entire purpose. Giving such a punishment, let this person never have this thought. But there his sadhana started inside of the prison also, and he got the experience of Vasudevam Sarvamiti. He got Vasudeva experience in the prisoners, everywhere. And there was a beautiful, the security guards would avoid going there. They would hear weird sounds and they would feel scared of going near his cell only. He was lost in intense sadhana. They say the Krishna dialogue took place and he saw Krishna, and then a beautiful turn of his life, which then had a big impact on Bharata also, his work. Even now, our national education policy, which is being implemented, is in light of for the children's education. They are following the principles, the same principles which Sri Aurobindo had set. So what we see is anywhere, any place you can experience. And Krishna is saying somebody who gets that insight, who is able to see the divinity in all places, such a person is not lost from me and one with me, is what he says. He goes on further. Sarvabhutas titam yomam bhajatyekatvam asthitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. He who in every being's oneness believes firmly and loves me in every living being truly. His action and living whatsoever may be his way, he lives and acts in my consciousness every day. Meaning, such a person is not discriminating. Let us never, at least take a pledge for ourselves, let us not discriminate among people. Not on the basis of, can anybody tell me on at least on what basis we shouldn't discriminate? Any basis you can think of? Because then we discriminate in so many ways. Anybody? Yes,
Caste,
sir.
religion.
Okay,
Caste,
religion, gender.
Caste, religion, gender.
Yes, gender
Then,
also, isn't it? Now
status,
there's status also.
richness, poorness,
color of the skin,
knowledgeable, non illiterate.
skin color.
Yes, skin color. So there are so many. I mean, one thing, this discrimination goes on taking
Knowledge
place.
level also.
Ideology, intelligence, class, everything. Why? Because Krishna can come in any disguise from anyone he can teach. Unknowingly, he can use somebody else to teach us some big principle without that person knowing as well. And this is so important not to discriminate because of our limitations. Sometimes, like I think Bajnanji told about gender. Now in the world, a great about gender fluidity concept is going on. People are actually trying to understand what it is. Maybe somewhere it is going in right direction, somewhere it's going in a wrong direction. But I had an experience where my elder brother suddenly became my elder sister after my elder brother went to UK. I knew one scientist who was my elder brother. And suddenly after I get a phone call and I want to tell you something, I'm now, my gender is this. I was very confused. I didn't understand. Then I understood later on that there was this person was transgender only, was facing such severe discrimination when in India, After going there, only there he could, he became she, so she could reveal. It took me 2 minutes or 3 minutes for me to come to terms because I really adored my elder brother. And suddenly my elder brother is now telling me, I'm your sister. I was thinking, how do I accept it? And then that's all. So what is the difference? I am not in, I respect the Atman, no? The Atman, whether it is this or that, it shouldn't make a difference. But again, where this is not, there are a lot of places we have to go to the root of things just on the basis of superficialness. But this is a truth where in India also discrimination does take place. We need to understand that. Again, no point discrimination should take place is what Krishna is saying. Whatever it is, he says any type, if this person is not discriminating, he is looking at all as one. All as one. Class also. If you say in India caste system, go abroad, you will see class system. People from this financial background will not mingle with another person's financial background. This person, ideologies nowadays, there is an ideological big war taking place everywhere. This ideology is not going to that ideology. Ultimately, Sri Aurobindo talks about reconciliation of opposites is where truth will come. Unless reconciliation takes place, one person will be trapped on one side, another person will be on the other side. So this is what Krishna is talking about. Let us just continue. Whatever that person may be doing, if that person is having samatha, is having that oneness on the inside, Krishna is saying such a person is already situated in my consciousness. That person is experiencing. What comes from being in Krishna's consciousness? That is again an experience that need to be taken. We will see that later. We'll go on further. Krishna is saying something very interesting. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadiva dukkham sa yogi paramo mata. Krishna says such a yogi is the greatest according to me. Who has the self's image when everything he perceives, O Arjuna, in an equanimity and oneness he believes, in both joy and grief. A steadfast poise he retains, becoming closest to me, the highest position he attains. So Krishna is saying such a person who is remaining peaceful at all times, whether joy or sorrow, reaches the highest status. This is so difficult. Keeping a balance. We are used to extreme of emotions, what we can say, the sine wave, a crest followed by a trough. There was a friend of mine, he was so afraid, he would say, when he was happy, he would say, now I'm going to be sad. Because every time something happy happens, then I become sad afterwards. Means that person is not in control, it's just outer extents, outer events which are taking place. So this is what Krishna is talking about. You can go, reach the highest state, become closest to me. Yes, Deepaliji wants to ask something?
That stanza from Pasaidan, Kim Bahuna Sarva Sukhi Purna Honi Tini Loki, Bhajijo
Yes.
Purusha Akhandita, is have same meaning, no?
Yes, absolutely. It is here, Duritanche te Timira Zao, no?
नाही नाही किंबहुना सर्व सुखी पूर्ण
Yes.
होवोनी तिन्ही लोकी भजिजो आदि पुरुषी अखंडित.
Ji. Yes, Pasaidan is about that only. No, the oneness everywhere, it has to be experienced. Absolutely. But now, question is, what do you think about Arjuna? Krishna is giving high philosophy. What do you think Arjuna, is he going to take? Anybody, could you just tell me what is Arjuna's perspective? What did Arjuna ask? What did he receive? Yes, anybody. What do you think? Is Arjuna taking it in a good spirit, right spirit, wrong spirit? 50%. Yes, Om Prakash ji?
He could be restless, probably.
He could be restless. He could be.
No.
Okay. So, how restless? If Om Prakash, you are saying restless, little restless, or is he relating 50%, or what would you say?
Confused.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 50% definitely.
50%. All right. Shivaji wants to add?
Yeah, totally restless, I guess.
Totally restless. So, okay.
I mean,
so this is, yes.
It's right below. It's right below. Actually.
Yeah, next shloka is actually telling us the same thing. Arjuna is actually revealing what he has understood. It is something like that. When a teacher is teaching, a professor teaches some beautiful difficult theorem in maths, and then a student has a doubt. The student says, I didn't understand this particular principle that you have used. Then the teacher can explain. But what if the student says, I do not understand the word mathematics? What is going to happen? Well, Arjuna is going to say something very similar. It is crazy that Arjuna's reaction is like this. But what is also, it also shows that Arjuna is very sincere and Krishna is absolutely open. Let us see what Arjuna says. Arjuna uvacha. Yoyam yogas svaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthitim stiram. Oh Krishna, Arjuna says, this yoga of oneness expounded by Eve finds not any understanding or resonance with me. He says, what you are talking about principle, this subject only I don't like, I cannot connect with this subject. What are you speaking about? This samatha, balance, high yoga, sadhana, what is all of this? He says, it does not connect with me at all. For its nuances, I still cannot grasp or find. I'm still feeling quite restless in my mind. Here, Krishna is talking about yogi and mind is like a flame in a restless, in a windless place. He says, no, my mind is still restless. What dhyana techniques you are teaching me right now? I am still confused. I am still restless. He goes on further. Chanchalam, he again emphasizes to Krishna. He's like, you are talking about sthiti and samatha. See, chanchal, he says, my mind is like that. He says, chanchalam hi manaha Krishna. Pramathi balavad dridam. Tasyaham nigraham manye. Vayoriva dushkaram. Now this is what they say, Guru ki vidya, Guru ko. Krishna gave example of windless place, the flame, or a yogi's mind is actually controlled, where it's not going with the wind. He says, what you are talking about controlling wind? My mind is the wind. Now tell me what I can do. He's just telling like that to Krishna. He says, despite your words, all wonderful words, yes, they are good. I'm not doubting that. But despite your words, my mind seems so restless. Its nature seems so stubborn and relentless. Oh Krishna, to tame it, I can't find a way. It seems as hard as controlling a wind blowing away. So he says, my mind is chanchal, Krishna. You have talked about controlling mind. You've talked about dhyana and meditation, but I am not. He's being very honest and very sincere here. He says, no, Krishna, my mind is still not in my control. Meaning, what is the problem? Anybody can diagnose why Arjuna's mind is not in control? Anyone from what we have seen? If you would like to guess. Main reason, because Krishna is with him. Still his mind is not in control. Why? Yes,
Because he is
Omprakash.
right in the battlefield. So he's in a different.
No, that is
situation.
fine. So that is the location, but there is a, what we can say, what phenomenon, why is his mind? Because Krishna has told in the middle of the battlefield how to control the mind. But Arjuna is not able to control. Anybody? Yes, would you like to guess?
His heart and mind are filled with emotions and feelings.
Absolutely. Yes, Rekhaji has said yes. Right now, Arjuna is having emotions, and emotions make our mind very, very unstable. And in unstable mind, you cannot be peaceful at all. So even when Sri Krishna, Sakshat, Krishna himself, yes, Deepak ji, fear, illusion, all these are manifestations of the fluctuations. So when divine is already present, still the divine is not able to act, meaning these emotions sometimes act as a barrier for our higher work. Dinesh ji has written, yes, his focus is on his emotions and does not have full faith in whatever treatment Krishna is giving. Yes, right now also, he's not able to receive. Meaning, in our life, we should not let our emotions control us. Emotions should not take us for a ride. What's going to happen? We have seen before, it's like having a useless driver. They will take us in a wrong direction or make us get caught in a car crash or something like that. Instead, control our emotions. Let's hope what Krishna does, maybe we might learn from that also. But at least Arjuna is lucky he's having Krishna directly next to him as his charioteer. Sometimes we have to search. In Kali Yuga, they say it's difficult. But maybe it's not so difficult because Krishna is everywhere around. Our emotions are only troubling us and not allowing us to see. That's what we need to understand. So Arjuna has clearly told, he says, my mind is absolutely restless. Krishna, it is like a wind only. Like nobody can hold on to the wind. How can I hold on to my mind? Krishna replies. He doesn't get annoyed, he doesn't get irritated, or he doesn't say, "What useless fellow, I've taught you so much and you are telling this to me now after so much explanation." No, Krishna is what we can say. Arjuna and Krishna is a beautiful, we can say, example of Nara and Narayana. Nara is Arjuna is representative of all of us only. We all experience these moments. And Narayana is the divine. We have to seek. Unless we seek, we will not find. Unless we raise the call, we will not receive also. Arjuna has done it, and now again he says, "Krishna, my mind is troubled. Please guide me. I need your help." Krishna replies, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. We see a lot of tolerance inside of him. He says, "Asanchayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chagrahyate." Oh, mighty armed one, Krishna agrees. Taming the mind is difficult indeed, for its restless nature tries to always mislead. This is the nature of mind, to mislead a person completely. So he says, "I understand." He says, "It's natural." Oh, mighty armed one, meaning you're Mahabahu, you're a strong man, you're a hero. Remember that, Krishna is telling. It is difficult, I can understand. But with regular practice, the mind can be trained, and with detachment, a control over it can be attained. It is like a student telling a teacher, "I'm not able to solve this theorem. I'm not able to solve it at all." What does the teacher say? Practice. Practice makes perfect. It's almost like a cliche. But that is the truth, isn't it? Everywhere something doesn't work out. You have to, can we just say, "No, enough, this didn't work, so I'll never do it"? I don't think we have that option at all in life also. But we don't know. It is said sometimes do at least 1 or 2 things a day against your will. What you don't like also do. So it will help you grow. It will help you. And it is with practice only you can transform yourself. Krishna is saying mind also can be controlled with practice. My teacher had very cleverly, very sweetly told me, do acting for meditation, because meditation is not working for you. But slowly, as a step, it happened. Then meditation came in. Then I do not know how you get it. Then one beautiful thing my teacher has told is, meditation need not be done. It happens. It's a consequence of the quietude inside. Create the ground and experience. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, I agree, mind is difficult to control, but by detachment, come out of the emotions. Understand you are more than your emotions. You are not a bundle of emotions. If you allow the emotions to govern you, then you lose your character. You become like Arjuna in depression. Instead, control them is what he says. And practice. With practice, strengthen your mind. Anybody knows the name of the Guruji of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj? Yes? Dipali ji, yes, please. You're from Maharashtra. Yes, please. You are on mute. You are on mute. Please unmute.
Spiritual Guru Ramdas Swami, Samartha Ramdas Swami.
Yes, Samartha Ramdas Swami. So he had written something about the mind, isn't it?
Yes.
Manache Shlok.
Yes.
And Das Bodh also, it is one of the first books of behavioral psychology. How you have to control your mind. It is so important. So there are shlokas for controlling the mind. Just study them, practice them. They are also sufficient. Means slowly, one by one, Krishna says that is how. All right, Ji, I'll just continue. He says, with detachment, so practice detachment and do abhyasa. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Asanyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me mati vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayatah. When a control over self one cannot maintain, they fail in yoga, and a union they cannot attain. Through disciplined efforts, a mastery over self they can retain. With regulated practice, a control they can surely ascertain. Krishna now very bluntly speaks the truth. He says, like a teacher. Teacher says, practice. If the student says, no, I'll not practice. I'll not do homework. I'll not do any practice. Then what does the teacher say? Beta, you will fail. Isn't it? If you don't do practice, you will fail. That is exactly what Krishna is saying. He says, if you do not control, then you will not be able to control yourself. You will not be able to walk on the path of yoga. You will not be able to transform your life, he says. But when you take disciplined efforts, you will get that mastery. By regulated efforts, you can reach that state, is what Krishna is telling. But Arjuna is immediately going to ask a question. He is like, I've got into this college. Now the responsibility of my placement is on the college. Whether or not I clear the exams, how many arrears I get, I have got into this college. This college should ensure placement. It doesn't work that way, isn't it? The student has to take efforts, no matter if it's the best college or worst college. I know a good friend who had studied in a very not so, what we can say, college without any facilities, but now he's in the best position in the world in his field. Another person, despite having all of the facilities, he didn't go ahead. So it depends. It depends on the individual also, and the efforts are required. But Arjuna feels I need to get some discount, some Kaliyug quota or something to help me move on. I want to still pass. I still want to go ahead without taking efforts. That's what we can say is the bhava. Of course, if anybody is a big fan of Arjuna, I want to say I am not disrespecting Arjuna. We are just speaking in a very lighter manner. Let us continue. I had to say this because I had got a message from someone. They told me Arjuna is my favorite. Please don't insult him. I am not insulting him. I want to clarify. Arjuna is absolutely somebody I adore and respect. Right now, I am just taking the advantage. A few adhyayas later, Arjuna is going to be beyond our league. I will not be able to even talk about Arjuna. Just this part is where we can see. Arjuna Uvacha, the human nature. Even in the best of human beings, everybody has a plus and minus. Well, somewhere we see Arjuna representing all of us. And here we see Arjuna speaking. Arjuna Uvacha. Ayatihi Shraddhayopeto Yoga Chalita Manasaha Aprapya Yoga Sansiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gachati. Oh Krishna, what happens to the one who goes astray? After embarking on the path of yoga, I wish to earnestly know when, despite his faith, a seeker's mind wanders away, if he fails to attain perfection, in the end, where does he go? So Krishna says, what happens to that person? He decides to go on this journey of yoga. He decides, yes, I will go into this, I'll enter this adventure of yoga, whatever this is. I'm going to start following it. He begins walking. But suddenly after a while, he feels, no, this is not, I'm not able to continue, or I'm not able to, maintain that momentum. He had faith, that's why he walked on the first place. He says, when despite his faith, the mind is wandering away and he doesn't get the perfection, what happens to him? What is the consequence of that person? What will he experience? Anybody, can you tell me, is this question a logical one or an illogical question which Arjuna is asking? Is it a logical one?
Yes, the logical one. Yes.
Yes, Shivaji. Absolutely, isn't it?
Yeah.
But somebody decides when you walk on a new path and you're a little worried, anxious also. What if I cannot? Means if this is too much, sometimes we feel I'm not capable of certain things and how will I go ahead? Look at all those people, they're all yogis and they're on that state of consciousness. I am here. How can I become that? Or these questions do come. And Arjuna is asking that.
The leap
Okay,
into the
Dinesh.
unknown.
Yes, a fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Yes. So again, Dinesh ji is saying, yes, probably this is a little bit attachment to results again. Yes, it is. That's why he's having a doubt. But we can be grateful that he has a doubt because at least, Akhilesh ji wants to add something or add something? No, all right. I think it got unmuted. All right, let us continue. Kachinno bhaya vibrashtas chinna bhram iva nashyati Apratishto Mahabahu Vimudho Brahmanaha Pathi. Oh, warrior mighty, does he not lose out on both lives here? When the human desires, he fails to completely give up, and the union with Brahma, when he fails to keep up and perish like a cloud that will only disappear. Krishna says, what if that person is walking on this path of yoga and then he goes astray? So one side is already given up all desires. He has now got out of that company of desires. He's now in a different path. But now he's not able to continue on that path. Will he not disappear like a cloud and just vanish? Is what Krishna is saying. He uses the word yoga bhrashta. What is the meaning of this? Will that person fail? Because he started. It was with a good intention. Because he had faith only, he walked on this path. Why will somebody walk on this path without faith? But Krishna, this is what will he not disappear like a cloud? What's the use on this path? It almost seems skeptical, but next shloka tells us why Krishna Arjuna relation is so beautiful. Here, next shloka we see the Shraddha is firm, the Shraddha is perfect inside of Arjuna. Etan me sanshayam Krishna chetum arhasya sheshatah tvadanyaha sanshayasya heta na yupapadyate. This great uncertainty, oh Krishna, you must dispel. You can see almost a dadagiri. He says, you must dispel this uncertainty, he says. And the smallest of my queries, you must expel. For this seems to be the only way out, and you alone can destroy this grave doubt. This is a Shraddha, meaning he's asking all these skeptical questions. Why is he asking? Because he says, Krishna, you only can answer this. You only can take me away from this situation. You alone. I have that faith. You can do it. This is the beautiful aspect in the relationship. Many times it is said, don't have fear for God, but make your God friend. And then in Maitri, I think that's the best relation, isn't it? We can sometimes tease our friends, we can get things done. The Sakha Bhava is so beautiful in sadhana also. Have that Maitri Bhava, then you experience the oneness of the divine. Well, here Krishna says, is being told, no, my small questions also. Krishna, I'll not let you escape. Maybe you can escape anywhere else. Now you will not. You are telling me and I am not leaving you. Smallest of my doubts have to be dispelled, he says, because that's the only way. This question is, as Shivaji has said, is a very, very valid question. Many people feel worried about the spiritual path. Sometimes they think, should we try it or not? Don't do it at this age, do it later on. And so many such advices people give. Actually, one thing I had a doubt when I was very young only, because my grandmother would say, if you yawn while eating breakfast, you will become a pig in the next birth. Problem is, I yawned so many times. So I thought now my next yoni is going to be a pig only, because my grandmother has already declared. Well, this is the question. What happens afterwards comes to everybody. Maybe when we grow up, it becomes in a different, it's here in the childhood, it's a little, what we can say, a slightly sillier version. But as we grow, well, here Krishna is answering, there is no yoga bhrashta. This is a thought, because this thought is put. Many people say, don't walk on this path. It is more difficult. You will face more consequences than somebody who is not on this path. Many people have these misconceptions. When I found my teacher and I decided I'm going to live with him, learn from him, all of this. One aunt whom I had seen right from my childhood, she came in front of me only. She was declaring to my mother, he has taken to spirituality as if I have passed away. She was just so disappointed, so broken, or it was as if she, in her mind, something different. Now still she sees me, there's no difference what was before now. Whether it's a good or bad thing is a different thing. But this aspect, yoga bhrashta, Krishna clarifies actually. There's nothing like that. But let us see how Krishna explains his doubts, how he explains dispels the doubts. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyanakrit kashchit durgatim tata gacchati. O Arjuna, know this, there is no destruction, neither in this life nor the next, for there is no regression. People like me can breathe a sigh of relief. I will not become a pig in next birth, because Krishna is saying there is no regression, meaning the soul is growing, the Atman is growing, the progression is only taking place. And Krishna goes on, for him who selflessly works for the greater good, no ultimate harm can befall him. May this be understood. Krishna is saying somebody who is working for the betterment of the world, understand that that person's journey is not going to just get over. He is not disappear like a cloud. The karmic chain goes on, birth after birth. There is a progression which takes place. Sometimes some stories get over early, but no, they continue. It is not wiping the slate clean. Sometimes people feel, let me wipe, well, it's like a game, let me end my life and I'll start off fresh. No. You will be continuing from where you have stopped. Sometimes you will have to again face those hurdles. Maybe the sanskar becomes stronger and you'll have to again face that. You cannot escape from it at all. This is a journey. But Krishna says there's no regression. This is beautiful. Certain Puranic stories talk about this, that this unit becomes this and all of that. That's for a lesson, or they have a moral behind it for teaching something. But the Bhagavad Gita talks about this progression. We have also seen the avatarhood also is having a progression in all the avatars. The Dash avatars are also having conscious evolution, where Jivatman also is having conscious evolution taking place. Krishna goes on. Prapya punya kritam lokan nushitva shashwati hi samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto vijayate. The one who on the path of yoga falters attains the realm of the pious sentient beings. After dwelling there for many years, is once more born in a household of pure beings. Meaning, somebody who has walked on this path, who has begun walking on the path, Krishna says that person, he goes into that loka. Meaning, he's talking about certain different lokas. There are lokas, there's a Chandra loka, people call it, there's a Shiva loka, they say. In the Bhagavad Gita, we see two different margas in the 8th Adhyaya described. One is the Shukla Marga, one is the Krishna Marga. All of it. Well, maybe I think physicists also, theoretical physicists, they talk about parallel universes or other realms also of consciousness. Well, here Krishna is talking about one, this is so many thousand years before these particle physicists talked about it. Krishna says that those who have walked on the path, who have begun, they go, even if they fail, they go to that pious realm, is what he's saying. They dwell there, and then they are born into the home of pure beings. Meaning, the punya that a person has accumulated, it does not go waste. It's like if you have a bank account and you are regularly depositing money, one day you decide, I stop depositing money. Will the money inside depreciate because you have not deposited? No. What you have deposited will remain. It's something like that. The punya, Krishna says, it is there. The person is going there and then he goes into this realm, is what Krishna is saying. Let us go further. And then he is born. Or there is one more place where he may be born. Krishna says, Athava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlavataram loke janma yadidrusham. Or he may be born in a yogi's house, and to the family of the pious and wise. For it is a privilege, so very rare, to be born in a household with a spiritual air. Krishna says what might be even better is for that pious soul which has started walking but not reached moksha, which has stopped and failed, and that yogi has stopped on the path. Well, he will get a chance to continue. If he's very lucky or he's very blessed, he will be born in an atmosphere which is very conducive. It's like a rose growing in a nursery. Will it not go beautifully? In a nursery, it's so easy for the rose, and the atmosphere is already there. So that's what Krishna is talking about. And he says it's a very rare privilege. Imagine if we were just born into a terrorist's house. What will our thoughts be? What will the sanskar initially be on us? We'll have to worry, or maybe sometimes people don't have the opportunity to even think anything beyond how do I get food on the table, isn't it? We cannot say everybody's life is the same. Everybody are not on the same level. Sometimes some people are born with a lot of wealth. Some people are born with a big debt only. One friend of mine, he said his father did a business and it failed. And so next 15 years, he has to keep earning money so that he gets free from it. He says, now I have still not got married because of this only. And it's been 35 years, 38 years of life also. I'm not able to go ahead because of this. Well, isn't it? Atmosphere is not the same, isn't it, for everybody? It is all a continuation Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate parvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyaha sansiddhau kurunandana. And there he slowly assumes his previous birth status and resumes his yoga after an outer-worldly hiatus, and his works gradually evolve towards perfection. O Arjuna, in yoga there is only ascension, meaning the story continues. It is not full stop with death. It continues, he says. Now, this is something where I think anybody must have you watched those reality shows where sometimes very, very young children start singing in such beautiful sur, even the biggest singers get shocked. How did this child has not even attained puberty and is singing songs of a lover who has broken, his heart is broken with all the bhava, all the sura. Well, not just in music also. Sometimes children, young children display remarkable talents, remarkable capacities. How, from where has it come? People say, no, this is difficult. This is no. Some the singers, they say, one Gandharva only has taken birth in this home. Take good care, he's already got the talent. Some of the best artists. Well, simple, Krishna is saying it is just a journey which is taking place. It is a journey which is going ahead. But that also, one thing we must understand that it is all the atmosphere is created for the growth of that individual only. Meaning, not only those who are born in the nursery will be successful. It is not there are so many factors. Sometimes a rose which is grown in the nursery will grow very happily in the start. Then when that rose is sold to somebody else, that rose immediately wilts. Instead, another rose which didn't grow in the nursery, which faced all the hardship, but that rose has turned out to be much more sturdier. And that rose is able to stand the test of time. Well, it's a beautiful, interesting game of karma at play. Krishna is saying, remember this, the journey goes on, the journey goes ahead. We are raising in consciousness, is what he says. Krishna goes on, Purvabhyasena tenaiva riyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahma vartate. By virtue of previous birth, his yoga is carried forward, and the soul is towards the science of union allured. Meaning, we are probably continuing a journey. We will not be knowing it properly. But by the karma, Purvajanma karma also, that individual, his yoga sadhana is taken forward. And the soul is towards the science of union allured. Means it is something, it is like, look at Hiranyakashipu. What did he do? He didn't want Prahlad to anyway go near the divine, isn't it? So he tried to keep him away. By Hiranyakashipu, we even just see there are so many examples in the world. But the child is born, and sometimes the child is born with a strong purpose. It doesn't matter, it just needs a nimitta. Look at the case of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's father didn't want Aurobindo to have any connection with India's movement. Anything that Indian was considered not so good. Whatever was English was good. At a very young age, he sent him off to UK with the hope that he will never really get that experience of, he will get the best Western education. But what did Sri Aurobindo do? There also in UK, he learned Greek, he learned Latin, he started going deep into the other philosophies. And again, all roads lead to Rome, while that all roads of Sanatana Dharma come to that one place only, to that Brahmic wisdom. That is where he went. He had to fail a horse riding test in the administrative services, and then he immediately got appointed by the Maharaja of Baroda. And from there he entered, and the way he entered into the freedom struggle, that was a crazy moment. So the soul had to come there. He learned Sanskrit also. He made great compositions in Sanskrit, all the scriptures. And when he got connected, initially there was a point where he was almost atheistic. Everybody, even Swami Vivekananda initially was disappointed. He was like, Agar tum ho to ye kyun hai? If you are, why is this suffering in this world? Why are my brethren suffering? These questions do come. So we will now stop with one more shloka, this shloka only. Krishna says, by virtue of previous birth, his yoga is carried forward, and the soul is towards the science of union allured, and beyond the ritualistic practices, the seeker then ascends in the principles of Vedas and Upanishads. he verily transcends, meaning that Jimatman can transcend. Shabda Brahmati Vartate. Shabda Brahma, what is it? Well, that is automatically transcended by that individual. They reach that consciousness. So we'll stop here. This Adhyaya will be over maybe in 3 more shlokas. Tomorrow we will continue with it. We'll enter into what is the 7th Adhyaya of the Gita. So here, just one small thing I just wanted to conclude while concluding also. This ability is there inside all of us to transcend. There is no age as a factor. Kalidasa says, Dharma vruddheshu vayaha na samikshate. Age is not a factor. Because age is what? Now this birth, these are our ages. But who knows last birth what we were in? It is just a continuation. Maybe who is old now will be young in that when maybe we might have met that person in another birth. I had joked to my mother once that I was your grandfather. She thought I was being serious and she really became, did you really have this experience? Then I just folded my hands and I said, please, I was just joking. I was not being serious. But the fact is, we have that potential to transcend. We cannot rely on outer factors or just try to limit ourselves. Krishna says anybody, anytime can get the realization. Sometimes it comes at very early age. Shankaracharya, we look best example. At a young age. Santa Jnaneshwar, he finished everything so quickly. I think at the age of, what was his age? 19 or 21? I don't remember when he took the Jiva Samadhi. Jnaneshwari was already written at 19.
21, 21.
21. Yes, Kulkarni ji, 21. So at such a young age, he has already completed his work. Some live long to give the direction for many, many years. Or look at Shabari. Shabari had to wait. Her guru had told her, it was like Sri Rama will come, wait, tathaiva karavam Rama tvadyanaika parayana pratiksha gamanam tedya safalam guru bhashitam, she says when she sees. Because they had told me tavat raksha kalevaram. He protect this old body is what the guru told. Rama will come for you. Keep that. So this aspect, we must understand that realization can come. And Krishna says, understand that man is a transitional being which is going through a experience of evolution, a consciousness, a change which is taking place. That's what Krishna is talking about. And on the path of yoga, if you are ever worried, just do not be. What you have done, good will always remain. Your bad actions will give you bad consequences, but good actions will also give you good consequences. Why do you have to forget that? And instead of that, don't, at least the fear which Arjuna had, or what I had, that I may become something else. No, I need not worry about all of that. There is a progress. Krishna says there is no failure when somebody aspires. Look at Bharata. How many youngsters, old, everybody laid their lives for what? For the freedom, isn't it? At that time, they would have never thought that will we ever become free. Many youngsters, just brilliant, extremely talented young ones, just sacrificed for what? For an ideal. Can we say a sacrifice got wasted? No. It is that sacrifice that we are breathing a free air. We are now rising in consciousness for a new direction. For the world, India is going to show that light. There are already enough indicators of what is going to happen. So this is what the journey goes on, is what Krishna is saying. It is not just, and one more thing we saw about was emotions. They have to be controlled. So with this, I conclude with a Shanti mantra, after which if any queries are there, most welcome. Again, I request all participants, if you can, please do turn on your video feeds. It's much more easier. Plus, you can actually pause me with your hand, raising your hand, like a remote is in your hand only. So, Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat, Krishna Mande Jagat Guru. Hari Om. Yes, please. Any queries? Most welcome. Or we'll conclude after that.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji, Namaste ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om ji.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om. Namaste. Hari Om. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om ji. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Yes, if there are no queries, I'll conclude the session. If there are any queries, we could look at it. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, are there any queries? No. All right then. Fine. Ji. Hari Om. Have a nice evening. Shubharatri to those in India. And I don't know. I think Akhilesh is from UK. What is the time now? It's afternoon, is it? Or
It's 5.
5? Oh, morning.
Yeah. No, evening.
Evening. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Yes, I'm a little bad with time zones. My friends keep complaining. All right. Hari Om. Hari
Hariom,
Om.
sir.